Bulls. So, yeah, I want to talk about the Bulls because one, I'm a big Bulls fan, and I live in the city of Chicago. Well, technically in the area of Chicago, and so the Bulls kind of are a team that I follow closely with, I mean, especially when the NBA is around. Um, so I watched the Rockets game and the Hornets game. They'll play the Lakers in a couple of days. By the time this comes out, they'll already play them. And kind of just what I saw in the Rockets game is they look really good in the first quarter of the game. They only allowed 16 points on the defensive side of the ball and even looked good offensively. But after that one quarter, they just allowed more and more points, 30 plus points each quarter after. And it definitely didn't help that they had 17 turnovers in the process. Uh, Lauri Markkanen, one of the Bulls players, I am a big fan of him. I've been following him since his rookie year. Tall, 7 foot dude that can shoot threes, so that's really cool. But he needs to attack the rim more and use his big size. I mean, he's gotten bigger and bulkier since his rookie year, which was 2, 3 years ago almost. And his defense is slowly getting better too, so that's a good thing. But I just want to see him attack the rim more and use that size to just get to the basket. I don't like that they just use him as sit in the perimeter and just catch and shoot. I just feel like he can be utilized in a different way. Um, Ryan Arcidiacono, he's more of a role player. He came from Villanova, and he's not doing too bad. He's pretty efficient. His plus minus is pretty consistent. He doesn't play too many minutes because he's just not as naturally athletic as the other guys are starting. But in that game, he had a couple of good threes, and he just played a good role from the bench. His plus minus was +9. And if you don't know what plus minus is, it's kind of like the score of how well you are productive on the field. Most cases, if you're usually under if you're not making any points or you're allowing the team get to score on you a lot, and usually up when you're getting a lot of points and you're also defensively keeping the ball from scoring from the other side. So I think it's a decent metric. Sometimes it's just nice to kind of get an overall picture of how well they play, but he's pretty efficient. I mentioned his plus minus was good that game. Then watching the Hornets game, I really like this game. Hornets aren't like a super team, nothing like that, but it's a good matchup, I think. They're both kind of on the same level of talent. But the Bulls outscored them in every quarter, and most fourth quarters, I always get nervous for the Bulls because that's when they kind of fall apart or allow a lot of points, even if they're ahead or behind. But this time they held them to 27 points. That was the second best quarter of the game. So I was quite impressed. They essentially just D'd up. And so far this year, I just kind of want to get my analysis of what I've seen with the Bulls through their first 15 games. The Bulls are notorious for turnovers. They are in the top 3. But in terms of forcing turnovers, they're in the top 15. So they're the better half of forcing turnovers in the league. When the Bulls have less turnovers than their opponent, they are 8-2. So minimizing these turnovers plays a huge role in their overall success. Everyone probably knows that the Bulls are top 5 in offense. They're just an offensive juggernaut, man. Zach LaVine is crushing it. Lauri can crush it. Kobe White can crush it sometimes. Wendell Carter. But right now, they're 26 in offensive rebounds, and I think they can improve that a little bit just to get all those second chance opportunities to score. I mean, if they're top 5 right now, and they're not utilizing that, who knows how much better they could be if they can get those offensive rebounds. Even though the defense is their weakest trait, they're good at one thing: defensive rebounds. Right now, they're 10th in the league, and that's kind of thanks to Lauri and Wendell Carter, since they lead that team in stats. So I think if they can continue that, and then the other defensive things can improve, we'll be in a positive trend. This year they drafted a rookie from Florida State, Patrick Williams, and I was a little skeptical of the pick at first. But I mentioned in my previous episodes that his role is a little different than what you expect. It's more of being a 6-man role player and focusing on defense, and he's been stepping up. Billy Donovan has been pretty much telling him hey, we're playing this team. You're going to guard the best player on the team, which I think is a good idea. It's just kind of helping him progress and kind of get over that learning curve. If he can take on these top guys like Giannis right ahead of time, and then who knows how much better he can be taking on kind of the lower players on these teams. He's having a good start, I think. He's very calculated in his shooting. He doesn't take too many threes. He averages about a little over 2, but he's 50% when he shoots. So I think he's very calculated, and he thinks of the best opportunities to make his shots. I kind of want to talk about other ways that the Bulls can really improve their game. As I mentioned, I'm a big fan of Lauri, but an aggressive Lauri is a good Lauri. He needs to drive to the lane more. When he goes to the rim or makes 2-point attempts, he's 56%, which is a pretty decent number when you're going into the paint. And I think how this could work out is if maybe he should play the 5 a little bit more. He's a shooting guard most cases. Maybe can get the load off of Wendell Carter by playing the 5 a little bit more, especially against small ball teams that don't have that height advantage, and that gives him more opportunity to get some more rebounds along with getting some dunks or any sort of ways to get easy points. People probably will disagree with me on this, but I think Zach LaVine is kind of a liability on the court. It's really hard to say that because he's top 5 in the league in points per game, and he has a strong case to be an all-star. He's an offensive juggernaut, man. He has incredible hops. He can just jump over anybody and dunk from any part of the court. However, overall, he's second in the entire league in turnovers. He's just not very efficient at protecting the ball. Every 36 minutes Zach plays, he averages more than 27 points, which is great, but he averages more than 4 turnovers. I think the best way to kind of minimize this problem is just kind of distribute the ball a bit more. What I noticed is like most games we lose, it's usually Zach getting 30-plus points a game. But when the ball is more even, we get more people that get that are in the double digits in points. I just see a little bit more efficiency, and they win a little bit more. So I think just having the ball distributed to other players, and it's just an easier way to kind of fix this little problem. I'm not saying he needs to just not have the ball in his hands at all, just a little bit more to the other players, and I think we'll see some progression. And here's something that I think would improve the overall defense of the team. Playing Daniel Gafford a little more would definitely help. Right now, he's averaging 14 minutes a game. He's most likely in the bench when he comes. But he leads the team in blocks and has the highest defensive efficiency. And he only averages half a turnover per game. That's the best overall on the team. And just giving him a little bit more playing time, I think that will help on the defensive side of the field. I'm not saying he should be a starter, but just a couple more minutes per game, and I think we'll see some progression on the defensive side. So, yeah, I'm real excited for these Bulls, actually. I mean, in terms of, like, year over year, within the first 15 games of last year, they were 5-10. Now they're 7-8, which isn't a big difference, but it's progression. And I think we're on the right path, and I can definitely see this going to be a much better season. Hopefully they can keep it up because as of now, they're in a 3-game win streak before playing the Lakers. I'm just going to assume they're going to lose to the Lakers. And, yeah, I mean, they can keep these streaks alive and do it more often. I could see a chance making the playoffs. They could be an 8, barely missing, and be a 9. So I'm excited to see what these Bulls have. Hi, thanks for watching the clip. If you're interested for the full episode, go to the description for the full episode link. Or, if you're interested in more content clips, feel free to check out my channel for all the clips available. Thank you again for watching, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share.